if you're investing.
Investors will.
The podcast for all things real estate investing.
Well, welcome back, investor community, to another episode of Investor One-on-One, where we bring you exclusive insights from the brightest minds in real estate. Today's guest is a trailblazer in real estate. As the founding partner of the Vive Funds, she has redefined investment strategies by combining innovation, a data-driven decision-making, and financial expertise to create concerted yet high-performing opportunities for investors. After earning her finance degree at 20 years old, she launched into a thriving career, amassing over $1 billion in real estate transactions across both corporate and startup landscapes. Her deep knowledge in acquisitions, asset management, and business development has made her a go-to expert on panels, podcasts, and global conferences. Beyond her professional achievements, she's a dedicated philanthropist, having founded a national nonprofit and played a critical role in disaster relief efforts during Hurricane Harvey, an impact that earned her the Political Woman of the Year award in 2017. So she's here with us today to share her real estate expertise, strategies, vision, and most importantly, her fascinating story with us today. So let's dive in. Welcome, Veena. Thrilled to have you on the show today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. So yeah, let's just start with your story. I know you've been involved over $1 billion in real estate. What first got you into the industry and what keeps you going today?
Yeah, so I did not start thinking I was going to do $1 billion in transactions. That was just a byproduct of being in the game long enough. When I first started, I started investing in single family homes, and I just didn't know that I could invest in multifamily. I didn't know this was an option. I thought single family was the only way for me to be a real estate investor. And so that's how I started. I started buying condos and single family homes. And I thought I was going to do, like I watched HGTV and I was like, oh, I could fix and flip just like everybody thinks. And it turns out that I really hated it because it was a lot of work and it's not actually that much cash flow. And people talk about mailbox money. This is anything but passive income. And that's when I was like, how do I get to scale? Because even in my busiest week, when I put 5 houses under contract, I can't replicate that every single week. And even if I did, that's 250 doors a year. How do I get to 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000? And so in looking for that scale, that's when the power and the beauty of multifamily really opened to me. And I did my first multifamily deal. It was 200 doors, $15.9 million. We sold it about 3.5 years later for $24 million, and the rest is history.
Amazing story. So with the market consistently shifting, in your
Mm.
opinion, what are the biggest opportunities and risks you see in multifamily investing right now?
Well, I think the biggest risk is that we are probably going into a recession. I hate to say the R word, right? Because nobody wants that. It's not good for anybody. The businesses will suffer, employees will suffer. Everybody is going to go through a harder time. But I do think that we likely are moving toward a recessionary period. I think there's like a lot of political instability that is contributing to this, meaning that investors don't like uncertainty. They just don't. Anytime there's any kind of uncertainty under any administration, you will see the market fluctuate and pull back because investors get nervous and then they look for quote unquote safe havens. So it's really interesting because as the market has taken a nosedive, right? Real estate has come down significantly. Interest rates are as high as they've ever been. Inflation just went up early this year. Pricing has not come down. It's an interesting time because we've never really seen this specific combination coupled with the fact that multifamily has a lot of loans that are expiring this year. Last year, it was like $80 billion of multifamily loans that expired. So there's a lot of various factors that are making this a unique time. Now, I just read this morning that we're starting to see nationally, we're starting to see more power in for landlords in pricing and being able to raise pricing because rents had been soft for the last few quarters. So it's an interesting time. As interest rates come down, we likely are going to see cap rate compression to match that, which is good. It means there'll be more investor activity. So I think the biggest opportunity, at least for us right now, is in assuming really great fixed rate debt and not relying on adjustable rate debt or fresh debt. The last deal we bought had a 2.59% fixed rate debt, for example. And I could do that all day and twice on Sunday, right? So it depends on how you're buying it right, making sure you're underwriting properly, you're not being too aggressive. I think that's where the opportunity lies for multifamily investors.
That's well said. So let's elaborate more on the opportunity side. Where are you investing right now across the nation, and what are some of the key factors you look at when deciding where to invest next?
Yeah, so right now our portfolio includes Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona. We also look at Florida and South Carolina. We like states that have a really high diversity of job sector, number one. Number two, we like landlord-friendly states. Ironically, my mom is a successful real estate investor. And when she first started investing over 30 years ago, she was investing in Illinois, which is not a landlord-friendly state. It's a very tenant-friendly state, but depending on which pocket you're in, there are certain counties that are more landlord-friendly versus others. So I think just being mindful of what the rules and regulations are. Like for example, if you're investing in New York, you're probably gonna have to deal with rent control and be thinking about what that looks like for your investors. If you're investing in California, you're probably an appreciation investor, not a cash flow investor. Our investor database prefers cash flow, stability, very like minimal movement. So they're not looking for the home run, but they're not also looking for something that's going to return less than the market would. Um, so those are our core targets right now. We're always looking and evaluating new markets. We study markets for about a year to maybe even 2 years sometimes before we'll put them onto our target list, just because we want to really understand the markets that we're in and the sub-markets that we're going into.
I see. So most of the places you actually said, we have more than 2,000 active investors with us, investing across the US, and six of the states that you said are like our most high demand markets. Those markets are really paying off for investors. So following up on that, lead generation is crucial in real estate and finding off-market deals and different properties. What strategies have helped you consistently source high quality deals in your career?
Yeah, I think everything, no matter which aspect of the business you're going to ask me about, it's all going to come back to one answer, and that is relationships. Everything that we do, whether it's raising capital from limited partners, whether it's getting deals on or off market, whether it's getting the best equity structure, the best debt structure, whether it's getting pref equity terms that make sense, it's all going to come down to relationships. Every single person in our business was built off of a relationship because there's a lot of trust and there's a lot of reliance on your partners, your vendor partners, and your partners in deals to do what they say they're going to do. So for our deals that we've been sourcing, we typically get them from brokers. I do have, a pretty good social media presence now, and I speak on a lot of stages. So I get a lot of deal flow in from other owners. We network with a lot of our quote unquote competitors. I actually work with a lot of our competitors. So it's like a team sport in multifamily. And when you go in with that mindset and you really think about it like that, it's a lot easier to get more high quality leads, more high quality investors, more high quality information, resources. All of that changes when you focus on the relationship first.
I agree. Networking and relationships, everything. I told you I had another interview before this, and most of our conversation was about networking, and
Yeah.
it's truly in every aspect it's the way to go. So yeah, you said you work with some very high net worth investors. In your opinion, what are they looking for in today's market, and how do you position opportunities to attract them?
Yeah, so it's interesting because for the longest time, they were mostly just sitting on sidelines. Now they're starting to come off the sidelines because they see all the opportunities and they're being opportunistic, which I think is great because there are a lot of new avenues to generate returns that we didn't really see in the last 12, 15 years. In order to attract them, I think the number one thing, again, go back to relationships, it's building relationships. If you're trying to raise capital from like a family office or an ultra high net worth investor, you have to remember that they are seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals. And so, one, your deal has to be really attractive. Two, your deal is more important to you than it is to them. Like for me, when I'm investing in a deal, like, okay, if I don't invest in it, I'll invest in something else. But for you, you like quote unquote need the capital from your investors. So be the one to follow up, set clear expectations out of the gate, and know that when you are raising capital from like high net worth and family offices, it is not a, hey, I'm going to call you and tell you about this deal and they're going to make a decision. It is going to be a process. So you have to really build that relationship before you need the money. And then you can start, sending them your deals and asking them if they're interested and moving forward with the deals that you have that need funding. But it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's a lot harder to raise institutional family office or ultra high net worth capital because of the quality of deals they see and the sheer amount of deals they see and the sheer amount of opportunity they have and the sheer amount of demand on their time. So it is definitely a harder hurdle. No one really talks to retail investors as much. And I think if you're just starting out, don't overlook the opportunity there.
So you have an amazing background and you've achieved some incredible things, like I said in the beginning. And now that you said you also come kind of from a real estate family, your mom was an investor, so you kind of grew up in this world. And also, as I said, you earned your finance degree at just 20. What are some habits or mindset shifts that have helped you accelerate throughout your career so quickly that you can share with us?
Okay, so I'm not a high consistency person. And I know it's like so counterintuitive because like you watch all this social media content and all these like really amazing aspirational business owners that are like, I wake up at 4 a.m. every day and I hop into a bath full of ice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds awful. No. Um, so there are a few things that I am very mindful of. So one is when I'm with my kids, because I don't get a lot of quantity of time with them, I have to be really focused on quality of time with them. So when I'm with them, I'm not on my phone, I'm not scrolling social media. I'm very intentional with my time with them. When I'm at home and not traveling between like 5:30 and 7:30, 8 p.m. every night, I don't take meetings, I don't do anything. Everything can wait till after, or it has to go into the next business day, just because there was a long time where I didn't do that and I was missing a lot of the time with my kids that I deserved and they deserved. Um, so I would say that's like one big thing that I am consistent about. I also am like really big on including my kids wherever I can. So I'm traveling, for example, I'm speaking at an event in June and my kids and my husband are going to come with. It's in Orlando. We'll do Disney. So whenever I get an opportunity to like take them with me and show them, and I let them be in the room with me, I let them see me on stages, I let them speak on stage with me sometimes. And I have twin 5-year-olds, almost 6-year-olds. So they don't have anything like very profound yet, but they can tell you what interest is and how it works. And, we start talking about money really young. I think my parents did a really good job of that with us. Our family dinners at night consisted of talking about investing and saving and the value of a dollar. And, I come from an immigrant background. My parents were immigrants, so hard work was really important to them. As far as mindset goes, I work with Rosie Noel. She is absolutely the best mindset coach on the face of the planet. Guys should go find her, the Rosie Noel on Instagram. And working with her, actually, I just got off a call with her to come here, but working with her really helps me make sure I'm showing up as my best version of myself, not just for me, but for everyone around me, my kids, my husband, my parents, my sister, my friends, my employees, like my partners. I can show up as a better version of myself.
I love that. It shows that you have a really good balance between everything, and that's really important because if you have too much of this or too much of that, you're either going to get drained or you're going to just lose time. So that kind of followed up to my next question. It was going to be like, how do you balance business,
Yeah.
and your success while giving back and, family time and all that?
It's hard. I feel like people say like, "Oh, but you can have it all," and you can, but the reality of it is when I'm here working or participating in my businesses or I'm traveling and speaking or I'm meeting an investor or walking an asset, someone else is raising my kids. Someone else is taking care of my kids. And when I'm with my kids and we're playing or we're going out or I'm teaching them something or taking them to school or I'm at their dance recital, right? Someone else is taking care of my business. And I think what I've learned is the power of a strong community around you is actually the cheat code to doing more and having more. I'll also say, because I think this is a narrative that gets spread a lot, and I don't agree with it, is that it's always easy or that like I have it all figured out because I don't. In fact, I'm coming off of a period of like really intense burnout, and I've never had burnout before. This was the first time in my life I experienced it. And it was working with Rosie that she was like, wait, keep talking. And then she's the one that said, I think you have burnout. And I was like, yeah, obviously I'm tired. And she's like, no, no, no. This is like an actual thing. This is not just something people say, which is what I thought it was until I experienced it myself. So, it's just like coming out of that and learning how to reprioritize and how to only do things that feel in alignment, only do things that resonate with me versus doing everything to make sure I don't miss out on something that I'm scared, I have like FOMO of, right? So it's like learning how to say no and prioritize the things that are important.
That's awesome. So, as you said, a lot of people can see your social media and all that. They see all the amazing results, all the hard work you're doing, but at the same time, they don't know what you're feeling sometimes, the burnout, the headaches.
Yes.
And I talk to so many investors, and we know that even though every investor is successful, they've been through so much failures and bad things. So, what are some common mistakes that you can share with us that you are seeing new investors are making or that you have made and how they can avoid them from now?
Yeah, so the biggest mistake that I made in my investment career was not understanding what the true power of a community looked like. So I never paid for like a mentorship or a like guru or any of those things that exist, because I thought that what was behind the paywall was, oh, what is NOI? What is an equity multiple? And I was like, oh, Veena, you're so smart. You can just Google that. And I was right. I could, and I did, and I learned it. But now I'm in those rooms because I'm invited to be there. Right now, I speak in those rooms and I serve those communities. And what I've learned is that's not what you're paying for. What you're actually paying for is a network for peers who have also invested in themselves, for experience, for that's the shortcut, right? Is when you can come to someone like me and say, hey, Veena, I'm facing this problem. I'll give you a great example. So in my community, the multi-mastermind, one of our members, actually two of our members, teamed up to buy an 86 unit apartment complex. That was our very first deal they did. And they ran into an issue with the financing and the structure of the deal, came to me on one of our weekly calls and were like, we are $500,000 short of what we need. We raised 1.3 or 1.2 million. We need another 500,000. I said, okay, tell me why. And we talked through all of it. And then ultimately at the end, I said, okay, here are all the ways I would go about solving this because they had like 4 days to solve it. And then getting $500,000 on your first deal in 4 days is a very, very high hurdle to me. So I said, look, I would go back to your investors. I would restructure with these things in mind. I would look at doing this. And I like gave them, I think we had like 8 different strategies that we did over the course of an hour and a half. And we did it in real time so other people could learn from it. And they came back to me the next day and said, we have a verbal commitment for all 500,000. And 48 hours later, all 500,000 was in their bank account. And so that's the power of community because when I first started, I had to raise $1.2 million and I cried myself to sleep every night for 6 weeks because no one told me how to do it. No one opened that door. No one unlocked their knowledge or their experience of how I could get there faster. So that's why I say that's the one big mistake I made is not realizing what power lies in communities.
I love that. I love how genuine you are and, going and showing us, the backside of real estate. And, it could be stressful, but if you're with the right people and you have the right mindset and you're following, sort of like a template that's working, then, you're going to get what you want eventually. So that's really cool. I appreciate that.
Mm.
And you said, you speak with so many different communities. We met at an event with a lot
Yeah.
of cool speakers and investors. What's one advice that, or the best advice that you love to share that you received in your real estate career?
Oh, okay. I'm going to give you two.
Okay, bro,
Okay.
two's good.
I can't decide. the one saying that it always resonates with me, and I say this like a million times a day, is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. What that means is, yes, in hindsight, it would have been great to be an early investor in Uber, right? We didn't know what we didn't know. But if you know things now and you know there are opportunities now and you choose not to take action today, then that's your fault. That's a choice you made, right? You have to choose the discomfort you're going to sit in. Are you going to be uncomfortable by trying to grow, or are you going to be uncomfortable because you're in the same spot 10 years from now? Time is going to move regardless. So you might as well try to be successful while it's moving. And I just love that because I think a lot of people think about like, oh, I should have done this. Yeah, you should have, but you didn't because you didn't know, and that's okay. You could still do it today, right? It's like that. It's kind of along the lines of how you start isn't how you have to finish. Just because you start somewhere doesn't mean you have to finish there. You don't have to be boxed into what you thought you wanted to be or were going to do when you were 18, 19, 20 years old. You can change. You can reinvent yourself. I'm in the process of reinventing myself right now. I'm always growing. And the best piece of financial advice that I ever heard was actually when I was in college, and it's front end load your sacrifice, meaning it is so much easier to skip the fancy things, to not have the cars and the clothes and all the things when you're younger. As you get older, you get more set in your ways, you have more responsibility, you have more people to take care of, more people relying on you. If you can front end load the sacrifice and give up as much as you can early on, it will exponentially pay you off on the back end.
I love that. Both of those are amazing quotes and very inspiring. Hopefully, our followers will find it very inspiring as well. And sadly, this is our last question for you today. What's next for you and Vive Funds? And are there any exciting projects on the horizon that you would like to share with us?
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure what's next because, like I said, I'm like in the process of reinventing where I've been and where I want to go. Something that's really resonated with me recently and feels very important to me and very natural to me is talking about having more women in leadership and more women at the top. So I'm actually working on rolling out a community-based project with not one, but two really powerhouse women. One is Rosie Noel, who's my mindset coach. The other is Stormy Wellington. She is an absolute powerhouse. And both of them just have really incredible stories. And I want to be around more women like that. I want to connect with more women like that. I want to, have best friends of women who are doing amazing, incredible things. And I want them to be part of a circle of all of us where we can help each other and support each other. So I think that that's definitely what's next. I don't know what that looks like just yet. I'm like working on it in the background. So you'll be seeing that from me. As far as Vive funds go, I mean, we're going to continue focusing on doing really great real estate, multifamily value add, core plus deals, our bread and butter. I don't think we're going to really deviate from that. And just continuing to work hard to make sure we're serving our investors and helping them create their own path to freedom, to financial freedom. And I love speaking on stages, so you'll probably still see me speaking on stages. Maybe not as many as I did last year, but definitely still stages. And just really connecting and helping other people get to their own financial freedom. That's really the focus.
Amazing. Well, I'm personally looking forward to all of that. And yeah, Veena, thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on Investor One on One. If our investors want to connect with you or learn more about you, how can they find you?
So I'm on all the social media, Veena Jetti, VeenaJetti. I'm the most active on Instagram. So if you want to like actually reach out, I answered my own DMs. And then if you want to learn about investing with us or what projects we have, we're open to accredited investors, and you can see all of our deals if you go to our portal, www.vivefunds.com, VIVEFUNDS.com.
Perfect. And to our investors, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay connected for more interviews with the nation's top investors. Till next time, keep investing wisely and stay motivated. Thank you, Veena.
Thank you.